In last week's video, I brought you along to Aldi for our latest $50 grocery haul. And what made that grocery haul special was the focus on whole food. So in today's video, we're going to use all of those ingredients in recipes to make dinners for my family all week long. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. If I miss a step, don't worry. All of the instructions are going to be down in the description box so you can follow along and make these whole foods meals for your family as well. I will give you a couple of ideas to make some of these recipes a little bit better for when you make them for your family, and overall what my family really thought about having whole foods for the week. So let's get started with meal number one, stuffed bell peppers. Stuffed bell peppers is just one of those things that I don't really think a lot about when I'm planning a meal plan, but I'm so glad that we made these this week. It was really one of my favorite meals, and one reason is the simplicity of it. Also, just the clean ingredients that you can incorporate into stuffed bell peppers, and you can really get a lot of nutrition boost with not a lot of money and not a lot of effort. So I'm just going to brown my ground chicken in my multi-cooker. I chose ground chicken because it was cheaper. If you have some ground pork or ground beef in your freezer already, go ahead and use that because it will taste just as good, maybe even better. And then while that's browning, I'm gonna wash my bell peppers, cut off the tops. I'm going to save the tops because we're also going to use them in the baking pan. And I'm just going to dig out all of the seeds and extra stuff out of the bell pepper, put them in a baking dish, and put them in a 350-degree oven while I'm doing everything else. That will give them a little bit of a head start to cook and soften while I'm making the filling. If you saw last week's grocery haul, you will already know that Aldi did not have any brown rice. So I went with some cauliflower rice. It really did turn out good. What was lacking a little bit was the filling factor. So if you have brown rice at home, I would suggest that you either put half brown rice, half cauliflower rice, or you can add both and make more filling, but it just really didn't stick to the bones like I was hoping it would. That reduction in carbs, reduction in calories really made a difference for this meal not to really go as long as a meal normally does for us. So just a heads up, if you have the brown rice, I think that might be a better go. I'm going to pour in 1 large can of crushed tomatoes and my rice cauliflower, mix all of that up and heat it through. Then I'm just going to fill up my bell peppers with the stuffing and put it back in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. I went ahead and covered it with some aluminum foil just to make sure that it cooked up nice and well and softened up those bell peppers as much as possible. I had some sliced cheese that we were going to use for this week's meal plan anyway, so I topped mine with cheese, put it back in the oven to brown, and that's it. I did add a side of buttered sourdough toast because I really was just afraid that this was not going to last very long at all. So whatever kind of carb you have lying around will just give this a little bit of a boost of staying power. But the taste and flavor was spot on. It was a delicious, super easy start to our whole food, low budget meal plan. Okay, next up, we are going to use our avocado, our sourdough, and I'm going to use my homegrown eggs, but we did buy some eggs in last week's grocery haul. So we're going to make a super easy avocado and egg toast recipe. I'm going to start by putting some butter in my skillet. Now, if you want to use olive oil, bacon grease, whatever you have is perfectly fine. Just something to sort of grease up the pan is all you need. While that's heating up, I'm just going to slice up my avocado. I used to totally avoid avocado, but I have learned how really good they are. So versatile. They're super healthy for your brain and your heart. If you've not tried avocado, give them a try. You may like them, you may not. If you don't, you can just leave them off of this recipe. It's just going to add a lot of good healthy fats to our dinner without a lot of expense. These avocados are really inexpensive right now. They were 49 cents at Aldi. They're running about 59 cents at Target right now, which is one of the higher places to buy groceries. So they're going to be inexpensive no matter where you buy them, and they're just really good and healthy and filling. I'm only going to make one of these to show you how. If you're feeding your whole family, chop up a couple avocado. I am not good at all with fried eggs. Normally what happens is the yolks break. I'm going to try really hard not to let that happen today, but actually I'll be surprised if it doesn't. So I would say 2 for each serving. 1 is probably plenty, but 2 eggs will just make it last a little bit longer. And since they're such an inexpensive ingredient, it doesn't cost much more to double it. Okay, it's time to flip. Yep, broke that one. Maybe that one stayed intact. I'll go ahead and turn the heat off. I knew I was gonna do that. It tastes the same, just cannot get that right. Okay, I toasted my sourdough. Doesn't really matter which order you do this, but I'm gonna put my eggs on first. And then I'm just gonna sort of pile on a couple pieces of avocado. They don't want to stay. Everybody really likes the everything bagel seasoning. I, for one, do not like it. So I'm going to keep it off. If you like it, now is a perfect time to put it on. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more salt. Adding even just a half an apple will really increase the nutrition of this meal. I love how simple and easy it is to throw together. If you had 4 people, you could take 2 avocado, 8 eggs, 4 slices of sourdough, and 2 apples. For just a little bit of money, you can have a super easy and delicious dinner. Tonight, we are going to have quinoa and black bean bowls. Now, we do have a little bit of chicken that we could use for this, but I don't think we're going to need it. It's got plenty of protein without it. So I think I'll just save it for another night. First up, we're going to cook up this quinoa in a pot on the stove, and then we'll get all the other ingredients ready. If you've never really cooked with quinoa, it's pretty much like rice. So I have 2 cups of water boiling. I'm going to add 1 cup of quinoa. Keep it stirred. Put it on medium to low and wait until it absorbs all of the water. And just salt it a bit. While this is cooking up, I'm gonna heat these black beans up in the microwave, but if you would prefer to do it on the stovetop, that's fine too. We're just gonna prep all of these other ingredients. So I'm gonna heat up the corn and the black beans, chop up the tomatoes and cheese and cilantro, and then we'll be ready. Okay, our quinoa is all cooked up and ready, so all we have to do now is chop up our avocado and fill up our bowls. When you're looking for simple ingredients and clean eating recipes, this one is really hard to beat. I think I'm just going to keep coming back to it over and over again during the spring and summer. It's really the perfect recipe for a busy, warm summer night. My family really enjoyed it. Chris went back for more and more and more refills, and that just makes me so happy when I can create good, healthy meals that my family actually loves. It makes you feel really good about the dinner that you made when you know that all of the ingredients went perfectly together and that it was a big hit for everybody. So make sure you give this a try. You can use it with rice, but this quinoa I think was a really good improvement to regular rice and bean bowls, and I would love to know if you try it with your family what they think as well. Next up, let's talk about our pasta salad. I was super excited about this, but before I go into the details about how to make it, I'm just going to have to tell you that it did not turn out the way I was hoping. It was sort of, in my opinion, it was sort of gross. The chickpea pasta just did not hit like I was hoping it would. And I have come up with a solution that I think would be better than using this chickpea pasta. I got it because it had high protein. I think where I went wrong was I didn't cook it long enough. It tasted like, I don't know, y'all, maybe like a dog treat. It was just not good. It did not taste good to me. Now, other people thought that it was okay, but nobody was like raving about it. So I think the better way to make this recipe would be, instead of doing the chickpea pasta, I would recommend just getting another bag of quinoa. And I think the prices are pretty close to the same. So you would actually be getting more food, and the quinoa will go in more dishes than this chickpea pasta. And I really feel like you're going to get a better result. I did try to use the high protein pasta, but it was a fail in my opinion. So follow the directions down below, but I will change out the chickpea pasta for the quinoa, and I think it will go a lot better. So just cook you up some quinoa like I had mentioned before, and chop up about 2 cups of spinach and 1 container of cherry tomatoes. I mixed up this vinaigrette dressing, which was really good, with 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar and 4 tablespoons of olive oil, some salt, some honey, and some Italian seasoning. Mix all of that together, and then I used half of a log of mozzarella cheese. I think it was about 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese. Chopped it up really nice and fine and put it in the bowl. Mix everything together. Put it in the refrigerator, make sure it's nice and cool, and serve it on a warm spring or summer day. And I think it will really hit the spot. Now, I did forget to say, make sure that you cool off the quinoa before you put all of the other ingredients together. That will make sure that everything melds well and you don't wilt your spinach. You want your spinach to stay nice and crisp and green. But another alternative would be, I could have just used regular pasta, cook that up, cool it, and then add all of the ingredients. And to add some protein, there was some chicken left over, so you could just add either some grilled chicken, or we had some boiled chicken left over. I could have just chopped that up and added it. I think either one of those options would be much better than chickpea pasta turned out, but you can't win them all. And I am pretty convinced that quinoa salad would be number 1. Next up, let's do our pork chop dinner. Now, last week, you saw me talking about $4.14 package of pork chops, and I think that Lane and I were having a little bit of a conversation. He needed something, and so I was doing something for him, and I forgot to put the pork chops into my buggy. So I didn't have the pork chops when I got home, and I kept thinking, where are they? Well, turns out I never got them. I never bought them. And so I just ran to Target and I saw some that were on yellow sticker. So it just cost a little bit more for the boneless ones, which was a plus for me. I think my family is much more of a boneless meat family than bone in. I'm just going to saute these on each side in my multi-cooker. I'm going to saute them on both sides, and then I'm going to take the pork chops out and pour in a little bit of maple syrup. You know how good maple syrup and apples and pork chops taste together. So I'm going to use some maple syrup for some extra seasoning and flavor. If you don't have it, it's fine, no big deal. Now, I'm following a recipe that suggested that I put some apples on the bottom, then put the pork chops, and then top the pork chops with some more apples. I think it would have come out better if I had just put all of the apples down on the bottom of the cooker and then topped it with the pork chops, cooked it that way. Either way, it turned out really good. It worked out fine, but I think the apples on the bottom just tasted a lot more flavorful and a lot softer than the apples that were on top. So your preference, but that's what I'm going to do next time. I did have some broccoli in the refrigerator that was going bad, so I didn't allow for this in the grocery haul last week, but it's better not to waste food if you have already bought it. All I did was put a little bit of olive oil and salt on fresh washed broccoli, put it in the oven 425 for about 25 to 30 minutes, and it comes out nice and brown and crispy and super delicious. It's one of my favorite ways to eat broccoli, and it was a perfect pairing for this pork chop meal. Now, I don't think I have ever made a casserole using quinoa before, but there's a first time for everything, and I definitely will be doing it in the future. I'm going to cook up this quinoa in my multi-cooker this time. You can do it on the stovetop as well. I did have some bone broth from when I cooked up my chicken. I'm going to use that to add some extra flavor to my quinoa. So I'm going to cook 1 cup of quinoa with 2 cups of this bone broth. It really did increase the flavor a lot of the quinoa. So if you have a little bit, go ahead and add that. If not, just use water and it'll be just fine. After the quinoa is done, I'm going to add 1 bag of frozen broccoli. I'm going to add about 1 cup of cheese. This is where the ingredient shortage comes in from Chris piling on all of the ingredients to his quinoa bowl. I probably should have just separated some to save for this recipe, but I already had some in the refrigerator, so it wasn't a big deal for me. I just want to make sure and let you know that I did use more than I actually bought on my $50 haul last week. So just about 1 cup of shredded cheese. I'm also going to add 2 heaping tablespoons of sour cream and just stir everything together. Put it on slow cook on my multi-cooker and let it cook for several hours. Everything is really cooked. I'm just trying to heat everything through. So it didn't take very long at all, but it was very easy, super easy cleanup. It was minimal ingredients. All of it was whole food. I guess you would consider sour cream and cheese whole food. I'm sort of doubting myself on that, but in my mind, cheese and sour cream is okay to consider whole food. So all of that mixed together, a whole food dinner for super cheap and quick and easy. It was a total win. While I'm editing my video, I'm here at the school with Lane while he finishes up speech. And I did want to let you know that I only did 6 meals this week. It's been a busy week. I've been a little bit under the weather, but I did have a good number of ingredients left. And so I thought I would just let you be creative with the last meal for the week. I had 1/2 bag of corn, about 1/2 bag of spinach left over. I had 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese left, a lot of sourdough, about 2 cups of chicken that I had cooked up was left over. If you get the bag of quinoa or a bag of rice instead of getting the chickpea pasta, you will also have a lot of quinoa left. And also there should be at least 4 eggs left in your dozen. So lots of ingredients are left. I would love to know what you would make with those ingredients. Please be sure to leave your ideas down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I would love to hear all of your thoughts in the comment section. I read every single message and I love to hear all of your feedback. Some of you even took the time to price out all of the ingredients in your area and let me know how your prices compared to mine. I love that type of comment. So if you have the time, I would love to know where you are and how much this meal plan would cost you and your family in your area. If you know someone who looks for weekly meal plan inspiration, I hope that you will send this video to them. And also welcome to all the new subscribers. We've had several join the Homemade Simple community this week and I'm very glad to have you. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I love you and I will see you again next time.